So what really happens in those chaotic, super high-stakes hours right after a massive cyber attack? Well, today we're going to go behind the digital yellow tape and meet the first responders of the internet. I'm sure you've seen headlines like these, Stuxnet, which was basically a cyber weapon, or WannaCry, which literally crippled hospitals. Look, these aren't just news stories. They are sprawling, incredibly complex digital crime scenes that affect millions of people and, yeah, even critical infrastructure all around the world. And the damage, it can be absolutely staggering. Just take the Equifax breach. It exposed the personal data of 143 million people. When something that catastrophic happens, you gotta ask one really urgent question. So picture this. The alarms are screaming, your systems are failing, and your company's most sensitive data is just flooding onto the dark web. Who do you even call? Okay, so this is where a very special team comes in. You can think of them as digital first responders. These are the specialists whose entire job is to run directly towards the digital fire when pretty much everyone else is running away. The whole field is called incident response, or IR for short. And their mission? It's pretty clear. Bring order to the chaos. They're there to contain the damage, kick the attacker out, and, get the business back up and running as fast and as safely as they possibly can. And they definitely don't just wing it. No way. They follow this really clear, battle-tested playbook. It's usually based on a framework from NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and it's this 6-step process that takes them systematically from, preparing for a breach all the way through to learning from it so hopefully it never happens again. Right. And this is not a one-person job. Not at all. It is a totally coordinated effort by a whole team of specialists. You've got the team leader, who is kind of like the incident commander. Then there's the forensic analyst, that's your digital detective. And the network analyst is watching the intruder's every move. All of this is happening while legal and communications experts are busy managing all the external fallout. Okay, let's get into this a bit. The second that team is on the scene, they treat the compromised computers and servers exactly like a physical crime scene. Why? Because that is precisely what it is. So the very first challenge they run into is that some of the most crucial evidence is, it's incredibly fragile. It's something called volatile data, and it can literally vanish forever with just a simple reboot or if the power gets cut. What we're talking about here is the computer's short-term memory. Stuff like the malicious software that's running right now or the active network connection the attacker is using to pull out data. This is the live, smoking gun evidence, and you have got to capture it immediately. So to preserve these digital fingerprints, the analysts have to follow this super strict, almost sacred procedure. Every single step is all about maintaining the integrity of that evidence. First, they use a device called a write blocker, and that prevents any changes to the original drive. Then they create a perfect bit-for-bit copy and verify it with something called a cryptographic hash, which is like a unique digital fingerprint. It's only after all that is done that the original gets locked away. This makes sure the investigation itself doesn't end up contaminating the crime scene. But here's the thing. What if waiting for an alarm to go off is already way too late? The most sophisticated attackers are super stealthy. They can just live inside a network for months, sometimes years, without anyone knowing. And this realization, it's led to a really fundamental shift in how the whole industry thinks about security. Yeah, the old security model was all about building a fortress, right? You build higher firewalls, get stronger antivirus software, and then you just wait for an attack. But the new model, which is called threat hunting, it starts with a completely different idea. Assume the attackers are already inside your walls. So this is the crucial point, right here. You stop waiting around for your automated security tools to send you an alert. Instead, you just assume they've already failed, and you start actively, methodically, searching for any signs of an intruder that your tools might have missed. And that is threat hunting. It's a human-driven process, totally powered by curiosity and expertise. A good way to think about it is like a fire marshal proactively inspecting a building for fire hazards, instead of just sitting around and waiting for the smoke alarm to go off. You're actually looking for the problem before it turns into a total catastrophe. So what does all this mean for the future of cybersecurity? Well, this proactive mindset, it changes the entire game. It really does. It's not just about defense anymore. It's about the hunt. And these threat hunters, they have an absolutely incredible arsenal of tools. They use these massive data dashboards called SIEMs, which give them a bird's eye view of the whole network.
Then they use EDR tools that act kind of like security cameras on every single computer and server. And they're constantly plugged into threat intelligence feeds to get real-time updates on all the latest attacker methods. Really, it's all about finding those faint, tiny signals of an intruder hidden in a massive ocean of digital noise.
So really, the big takeaway here is this fundamental evolution. The role has totally shifted from being digital firefighters who just show up after the disaster to being more like proactive patrols who are constantly walking the beat, always looking for any sign of trouble. The goal isn't just to recover from an attack anymore. It's to relentlessly discover threats before they can ever do any harm. This really is the new reality of cybersecurity, isn't it? It's a permanent state of vigilance. And all of this leaves us with one final and kind of provocative question. If the new rule of the game is to assume you're already breached, then what does true digital safety even look like anymore?